the forum that we held last Tuesday evening at the Marin Center, a joint meeting of the Marin Transportation, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, MTC, and the Association of Bay Area Governments, also called ABAG. And it was an opportunity for the public to come and speak about whatever their concerns or issues were related to the One Bay Area Plan, which is a regional visioning process that hopefully will allow us the opportunity to consider how are we going to grow and where do we invest limited state and federal dollars into land use and transportation over the next 25, 30, 40 years. Unfortunately, there were a number of individuals that came to the Marin meeting from outside of Marin who seemed like their sole intent was to disrupt the meeting and not allow the public discourse. But even with that, there were some really important statements that were made that I have carried back to ABAG at our last meeting, one of which is the sense that the public really has not been informed and allowed to be part of this process from the ground up, and the sense that what's been happening has been a top-down planning effort. And so we have been, some of us who have been participating in these meetings have encouraged both of these regional agencies to maybe take a breath and a step back and really try to re-engage our community at a more local level, so that at least there's an understanding about what's trying to be accomplished. One of the concerns is that these regional agencies are going to be taking over the planning for our local cities and towns and county, and that's not the case. Local cities, towns, and the counties still have the planning authority. The issue is that if how we spend dollars will depend on how different cities and towns and counties are looking at their own growth within the context of how we move people around in the Bay Area. And with an expected growth of maybe up to 2 million people over the next couple of decades, I think it is a process that we do need to engage in, and how do we manage this growth? Some of us are already sitting in congestion on the 101 again after the HOV lane has just been completed. And so these are worthy conversations, but I will be taking more of those comments back as we continue in this planning process, and I just wanted to let the public know that and perhaps our chair might consider the opportunity for seeing if there's ways to better organize our own education and outreach around this issue in the months ahead. Finally, at the ABAG meeting on Thursday night, the sphere of influence issue came up for Marin County, and the board in a split vote was that 62.5% of the allocation would go to unincorporated to the cities and towns, and 37.5% of the sphere of influence allocation would go to the county. And that's my update.
Yes, first of all, just to tag team on what Supervisor Adams was talking about. If you remember when we had our first meeting of the year, besides saying ditto, ditto, and ditto, I did say that I think that the One Bay Area Plan, which is coming to the cities and counties, is going to be the most important thing that we have to deal with this year. My suggestion, after having attended the meeting Monday night, is that ABAG and the MTC and the other regional agencies should meet, I think, with mayors and council members. They meet once a month. You could get all of the mayors and council, you would get them all together, present the plan so that all of the policymakers are familiar with what's going on, so that they can then give the word to their constituents. And I think they should come before the Board of Supervisors in the Bay Area and present it to us, so that we can then understand, and then we'll go out to our constituency and present it to them. Clearly, there were people from the East Bay. We've seen them on YouTube. It's a Tea Party movement, and I understand that. And they talk about the Delphi Amendment, which I have no idea what that is. But what they say is it's a plan for the policymakers to guide consensus when the people don't know what they're agreeing to. So it's very extreme. They were there at the meeting. They were very disruptive. But on the other hand, there are some very legitimate questions that need to be asked and some information that needs to come out. And then we can make a decision, yes or no, when we all know what we're doing. So I just wanted to add that. And then my last...
Supervisor Sears, good morning.
So I really appreciate the comments made by Supervisors Adams and Arnold about the One Bay Area meeting of last week that was put on by ABAG and MTC. I personally found that meeting very disappointing. It was not, I don't think the way it was organized did not provide a good opportunity for information to be given to the attendees. There were many people there who really were asking questions and wanted information, and that unfortunately was not an environment where they were able to get it. So I appreciate the suggestions by both of my colleagues of how to improve that process. I think there is important information. There are many people in our communities who are engaged and want more information and want to have a more meaningful opportunity to participate in the conversation. And so that was not an environment, unfortunately, that fostered that opportunity, and hopefully there will be opportunities in the future that will be more informative and meaningful for our residents.
I hear my colleagues and their interest in thinking about the One Bay Area, and we'll do some discussion with our Community Development Director and Matthew about an appropriate time and means of continuing that conversation. In late March, a draft plan will be out, and it may be during the period of opportunity to review that we would be best served if we're going to have a presentation here or to the mayors and council members.